strike up this partnership with Gennady Golovkin? I mean, he came to you.
Basically, what happened is I had a meeting with Gennady Golovkin a long time ago, probably 6 months ago, maybe longer, where I wanted to bring him to DAZN. I brought in John Skipper, and I said, look, you guys, you talk. I know Triple G, you've got your own promotional company. We'd love to work together. He did his first show. We stayed in touch the whole time. I helped out with this deal a lot, and he said, look, I'd like to work together, co-promoters on my career. I think you can deliver a lot. I think you have a big stable of fighters, particularly in the middleweight and super middleweight divisions. And that's what we did, and that's what we delivered. For me, he's one of the biggest names in boxing. I think he's probably the most exciting fighter in world boxing still. And it's a massive signing for our stable, you know, working together with him, helping him with his stable of fighters as well, not just to box on these shows, but on all of our Matchroom shows.
I thought Tom Loeffler took care of that portion.
No, Tom Loeffler's still on the team, you know,
right,
but I think Gennady wanted us to spearhead his promotional efforts. So it's an honour that he's decided to do that. Obviously, with our relationship with DAZN, we can keep it in-house. Hope to think that we can make the fights now like Demetrius Andrade, like maybe a Danny Jacobs rematch, like a Billy Joe Saunders fight, like a Callum Smith fight. You know, there's so many great fights to be made, but obviously first is October 5th.
Did you think that it was getting difficult for him handling those promotional obligations?
No, I think any fighter should try and remove himself as much as possible from being involved with the promotion of a fight, because this is the toughest sport in the world inside the ring. Outside the ring, it's the worst business in the world. Worst business in the world. Sleepless nights, people trying to fuck you, right? Fights falling through, people running off, trying to break contracts, governing bodies making decisions that you can't even like. This is why we love it. Doesn't matter whether you're writers, you do what you guys do. We're all addicted to boxing. But if you're involved with the show, if you start making decisions about the ticket prices and the undercard and the press conference venues, you're mad. You've already got the toughest job in the world. Don't make it any harder. So I think he looked at that in that respect and said, Triple G Promotions is extremely important to me moving forward. We want to work with a partner who can push the shows, push the events, plan our strategy worldwide. This is beyond just boxing in America. Now we have to look at Middle East, we have to look at Japan for the Murata fight, we have to look at maybe fighting in the UK again. So it's a global strategy rather than just...
The Murata fight, that's
a big fight. I mean, that's a big fight. Murata in Tokyo is a huge fight. I would love to put a fight like that on. That's a groundbreaking fight.
If the Canelo fight falls through for Triple G, amongst your stable, who do you like to match Triple G?
I think Billy Joe Saunders is a great fight. I think Billy Joe Saunders is a fight that was close quite a few times. Right. I think Callum Smith is, right now, without question, the #1 168 pounder in the world. Everyone's afraid to fight him. You know, he's a little bit unproven, other than the George Groves victory, but I think his size, the way that he's beaten people, every time we've put him in the mix, whether it be Canelo, it's not even up for, you know, discussion.
Would Saunders fight him?
Fight Gennady?
No, Callum Smith.
Yes, he would, yeah, and that's a fight that we may look at for spring of next year. Obviously, that's a fight quite easy to make, but the only one thing I'd say on that is I think they're both really good,
right,
and obviously they're both with me, and I would quite like to get them bigger fights before they meet to make it the size that it should be for the risk involved. That's not what fans want to hear, but that's the truth. You know, I really feel like that fight is a great fight, but there's other fights out there for both guys that could make that fight monumental rather than just a big domestic fight.
So Saunders is definitely going to stay at 68. That's what he's
at the moment. Yeah, he's going to defend his belt in probably November. We'll have his date next week, and then he can move to 160. It's not a problem. But I feel with Billy, the longer he stays at 168, the more likely he is to stay there. It's going to be difficult for him to drop those 8 pounds.
Eddie, do you think that it's a possibility if Triple G is successful in this fight, that he could get a fight? We'll see a fight with him and Demetrius Andrade?
I think it's a great fight. Demetrius Andrade is a little bit in the same boat as Billy Joe Saunders. Really tricky, very good fighter, tough to beat. So those guys, like for me, Canelo should be fighting Demetrius Andrade. He shouldn't be fighting Kovalev. It's a good fight, but he should be fighting the other champion in the division. But you can't really criticise Canelo Alvarez because his resume is stellar, right? So it's tough to say, oh, you know, you're not fighting. He just boxed Danny Jacobs. He beat him. So, and he wants to fight Kovalev. Again, that's a tough fight. But for me, if you're not fighting Triple G, which is the fight he should have taken, then you should be fighting Demetrius Andrade.